Hello everyone! So I have recently got those Roman Szmal watercolors for my birthday. I also got this cassette for storing them, also from the same brand, and I'm really excited to try them. So the watercolors that I was using before was from Van Gogh Talents. So I've been using them for many years. Some of the colors are running out, but they are still good to use. There's a lot of most of the paints. This one is not from Talents. There used to be black here, but since I was never using it, I replaced it with Magenta from Winsor and Newton. Yeah, so I wanted to try something more advanced, and I was looking through many different brands. I thought I was going to get either Winsor and Newton or Rembrandt brand, which is the same brand as this one, but more professional. I wanted to get tubes. However, as you can see, there are no tubes. We have the pans here. Those are full pans. I've never used them before. I only use those that are half pans. Okay, so why I chose those ones instead of Winsor and Newton or Rembrandt. So I've learned about those paints on Urban Sketching group on Facebook. Someone asked about other people's favorite watercolor brands to use for urban sketching, and a lot of people recommended those. And they're actually made locally here in Poland. I can't believe I've never heard of them. They are very affordable here compared to Winsor and Newton, and from what I've learned from my research about them, they are very good quality. They have a huge fan base apparently, so they are good quality, they are affordable where I live, they are made locally, so I'm supporting local business. What not to love? So I decided on this brand instead of Winsor and Newton or Rembrandt. I've got 21 shades. I don't have some of the basic ones like yellow ochre or burnt umber, as I have them in my previous set and I'm probably going to use them for a long time still, so I didn't want to buy new ones. So starting from the top row, I ordered them by shade a little bit. So first shade is Cobalt Sea Blue, which is a granulating watercolor. Okay, they have this little paper here securing them. Those are supposed to be a little bit wet. They are. And those are made with honey binder. Not sure if that's only me, but when I first saw them, and still when I'm looking at them with their package, they look to me like fancy chocolates. Okay, so next one is Phthalo Blue, green shade. Okay, I'm glad they have this paper here because it sticks a little bit to the paint and it might be harder to open them without it. Okay, next one is Ultramarine Intense. Next one is Diaxozine Violet. Oh, very dark. Yeah, you definitely need to make good swatches. Okay, now it's Mineral Violet, and I'm very curious of this color. I cannot wait to swatch it because it's a beautiful granulating color. They are impossible to distinguish from each other. You really need a swatch for those. This one is the next one that I'm very curious of. It's Misty Morning. It looks like a nice gray, but apparently it has a lot of pink in it, so we will see. I also couldn't wait for this one. I don't know if this is because those are with honey binder or if there is any reason why the color is so dark in the pans. Permanent Alizarin Crimson, so this is a red shade. The next one is Magenta. So you might have noticed that I have this Magenta here from Winsor & Newton, but it's a weird shade of magenta. It's very dark, so I hope this one is going to be different. So I was looking for a color that was named Quinacridone Magenta, but I couldn't find it in the shop. Apparently it's the same color, at least it's the same pigment, so I hope this is going to be what I was looking for. Okay, Perylene Violet. So I used this color from a different brand on watercolor workshop that I attended recently, but apparently the brand we were using during the workshop has a different shade that this color usually has. Okay, next I have Nickel Azo Yellow. It's probably not the basic yellow that should be chosen, but I still have quite a lot of yellow here. This is more like lemon yellow, I would say. There's also some warm yellow here, so I have quite a lot of yellows, I would say. Oh, it looks so weird. It looks more like this ochre color. I really wonder what they're going to look on paper. Okay, this is Aquarius Orange. So I chose this color because I saw that it's very intense and I thought it might be useful for painting botanicals or birds. Now Cherry Quinacridone Red. So I chose this one because I've seen that it is very bright and intense. Oh, okay, the paper sticks to the paint a little bit. I've heard this is a problem and you should put them in a freezer. It's not that bad though. It's the first one that I had issues with. Yeah, so it's supposed to be very bright and I'm really curious about it because in this set I don't really have something like this. Quinacridone Gold. So apparently I've learned this also this month. So apparently this pigment is not longer produced. I mean, the original one. This is, the brands are using different pigments now to replace it. So a lot of people love this color and I chose it because I was curious. I've never heard about quinacridone pigments before. I don't know what to expect. Yeah, it looks so brown. Okay, Aquarius Brown. So I've heard it's a very nice brown and I decided to try it. It's like basic brown. Deep green gold. Okay, the next one is Perylene Green. And those are the paints. Okay, so they are in the cassette. This is the order that I put them in. So they aren't really arranged by color, but I used their qualities to differentiate them. So the first row, which is looking from the left, this one, those are the non-granulating colors. I tried to order them a little bit by color within the group. So they start with blues, then violets or pinks, yellows and greens. So the next group is medium granulating watercolors. And the last one is the granulating ones. And in the last row, I also put my old watercolors. So I'm using quite a cheap paper. It's made in Poland as well. It has a little bit of texture and it's 25% cotton. So I will water the paper a little bit first. Okay, so I will start with non-granulating first. So let's go from the top. Also those paints, they are really dark in those pens. The previous set was not like this. The colors in this set are pretty much what they look on the paper. Those ones, they are so dark, they're really hard to imagine what the color will look like. I think it might be because of the honey binder. Okay. Yeah, it's so much different than in the pan. It's so much lighter. It's Phthalo Blue green shade. The next one is going to be Permanent Alizarin Crimson. Now Magenta. Oh, that is very pretty. The Magenta that I previously bought from Winsor & Newton is totally different. It's some dark shade of magenta. Let me try it here. It's much more violet and not as nice, I would say. It's not as a pink as this one. Okay, the next one is Perylene Violet. Very pretty color. Now the color that looks really ugly in the pan, it's like greenish yellow, very dark, but it's nickel Azo Yellow. So let's check it out. When you add water to this pan, the color immediately is so much lighter. It's still very dark though. And on the paper, oh, very pretty. It's nothing like the color you see in the pan. It's very interesting. It can get dark, but with a lot of water, it's very nice. Very warm golden yellow. The next one is this Quinacridone Gold, and it also looks brown in the pan. Okay, this is also very nice. Very nice orangey yellow. The dark part of this color is orange, and the undertone is very yellow, actually very similar to the previous color. Okay, and the last one is the green shade. It's Perylene Green. Okay, so it's a dark color, dark and muted. So those are all not granulating ones. Let's switch to the medium granulating part. So the first one is Ultramarine Intense. And the color immediately gets very intense when you add water to it. Let's start. Very nice color. So this color I also had in my previous set, but it's nothing as pretty as this one. Let me swatch it. This was actually my favorite color in this set, but looking at it next to this new one, there's a huge difference in pigmentation, in intensity of the color. The shade is also much more muted. Okay, so the next one is Diaxozine Violet. I'm really curious about it. Okay, this one is also very pretty. Now Aquarius Orange. So this is supposed to be very bright and intense. Okay, and it is very intense. Okay, mixed with violet a little bit. The next one is Cherry Quinacridone Red, so it's also supposed to be quite intense, almost like fluorescent. Okay, it is nice. It's much different than this previous red. It's warm, but not too warm. I don't know how to describe it, but I like it a lot. I think it's gonna look very nice on botanical paintings. Okay, so now deep green gold. Okay, so it's very nice, very yellowish green. I would say it's almost yellow with a tint of green. In the pan it looks very green though. When you add more, it's a little bit more olive shade. Definitely very nice. And now Hooker's Green. I've never used this color. I know it's very popular, but I've never had one. Okay, so it's a very nice shade of natural light green. And it's very pretty, very natural looking. In my previous set I had sap green, a little bit similar in the lightness, but I remember it looking much more fake. Yep, this is the sap green from the previous set. It's also nice, but it looks more artificial. This one is very pretty. And the last one in this category is Shadow Gray. So it's a neutral color. I don't know how much I'm going to use it because I am not used to such a color. I used to use more of indigo for something like this, but it's very nice. It's neutral, it's not as blue, so it might be very useful. Okay, and the last row are going to be the granulating colors, so I'm the most interested about those ones. So let's start with the Cobalt Sea Blue. It's very nice in the pan. It's not as dark as the other ones, it's very intense. Okay, it's also very intense on the paper. So what I've learned so far about granulating watercolors, you're supposed to add a lot of water to them so that they can release their full potential. So let's try to do that. We will see how it will turn out. Okay, the next one is, I think, one of the ones that I couldn't wait the most for. It's Mineral Violet. So it's supposed to be between violet and pink. Okay, very intense. So far they look quite alright, but they are going to look much different when they are dry. Okay, the next one is Misty Morning. Very interesting color. It's grayish, but not as neutral as this one. I don't know how to describe it though. Okay, let's add more water now. So it's also supposed to be some bluish gray with pink. Okay, the next one is this Aquarius Brown. So I didn't realize it was granulating. We'll see what it looks like. Okay, now this Przybysz gray. I don't know what to expect from this color because I don't remember how it's supposed to look. I also didn't remember that it's granulating. Okay, now the color that I was also waiting for, it's Autumn Green, and it's supposed to be green with some orange. It looked very pretty on the swatches on the internet. Add more water to it. And the last one is Aquarius Green. Okay, so it's very dark but intense color, very pigmented. It's much different than this previous green, which was also very dark but very muted. This one is very, very intense. Okay, so let's wait for them to dry and then we will check out the granulating ones. Regarding those previous colors, I really like them. Most of them are what was missing in my previous set. You can see how this blue, which I really liked, I thought it was pretty, but compared to this new one, it's so dull. I was also missing some violet for botanical paintings and some pinks, because my previous set had more of warm reds, and the magenta that I got, it is pink, but it was very dark, so while painting nice pink light flowers, it wasn't that useful because this color is more muted. When you look at this bright part, although it's light, it's not as nice as this intense pink color. Those yellows are also very nice. So my previous yellow that I thought was very nice, this is what it looks like. It's totally not as intense. I'm also very happy about this Diaxozine Violet. I was missing such a color because when I was mixing my own violet, there wasn't a color like this one that I could achieve with the colors that I had. The violets I was getting were usually more dull, while I was using mostly this color to mix it, so there's no surprise. And they were also much more reddish. Couldn't really get something like this one. The pink is very nice. I think it's going to be useful for animal paintings. And this red, it's very bright. Something I also couldn't achieve before. It's very translucent, very bright, shiny. Okay, the colors are dry now. Let's examine them. So this first one is a very nice turquoise color. It's a monopigment one, so it granulated with white, as there's only one pigment. And it's a very nice color that might look very nice on painting water. And the next one is this mineral violet. I think I used a little bit too much pigment because we did get a lot of this pink here, but it's not as intense. It's very nice though. It's much different than this Diaxozine Violet. It's more rich. It contains two pigments, and it actually contains the same pigment that this one. I suppose they use the same pink pigment because this mineral violet is also bluish with pink. So it looks very nice. Very unexpected color mix. And this next one is Aquarius Brown, and it's also a monopigment, so it also granulated with white. I don't like it as much as the other colors, mostly because it looks like it's difficult to receive an intense color. Might look nice on top of other colors while painting, for example trees. It might imitate the tree bark very well. I will try to add it to this yellow green, this gold, deep green gold. Okay, let's wait for it to dry and we will check it out. And in the meantime, let's go to the next color. This is Przybysz gray, and I didn't remember why I liked it, but I now know. It's very nice. It's grayish with violet. It has three pigments in it. So there's blue pigment, red one, and a little bit of green one. So it's very nice, rich gray. I don't know yet what I'm going to use it for, but it definitely looks very nice. And this one is this autumn green that I really love. I think it's my favorite color here. It also has three pigments, the green one, the yellow one, and the red one. So that's why we get some darker green, some really light yellowish green, and also some orange. And the last one, it's Aquarius Green, and it also has three pigments, yellow, brown, and blue. So we get very dark green, and in here in the middle it looks a little bit bluish, and then in here we get nice yellowish with a hint of brown. Well, it's not yellowish, but it's much lighter, and there are some brown hints. It's not as intense as with this color. It's much darker and much subtle. I can see some hints of brown here and hints of blue here. Okay, it's not fully dry yet, but I can already tell that this color is going to look very nice on top of other colors. I'm not very happy with it on its own, but on top of this green, it's very nice. Okay, so this is it. Those are the swatches. Let me know if you have those paints, if you have those colors, if you have other colors that you recommend. I'm also happy to hear about them. And see you in the next video. Bye bye.